Hi, this is the Cyderbaby Show. I'm Dave, and I'm speaking to Caitlin Koch. Hello.
Hey, Dave.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, mustn't grumble, but I always do. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're not really the kind of rock material I'm used to interviewing. You're more country, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Go on. Tell me more about yourself.
I'm sure you're used to seeing, like the black hair and maybe some tattoos and maybe some makeup.
Maybe.
Yeah, right. No. I'm definitely more, I would say more country, soul, rock, implementing, many different genres. If I had to put myself in some sort of labeled box,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I grew up, listening to Elvis Presley and, the Stones and Aretha Franklin and anything out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, or Motown classics. And so my style is definitely, a little bit more retro soul, but it has a little bit of an edge to it, which is probably where the rock comes from, I should say.
Cool. Okay. You started on the X Factor, is that right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
My
It was
word.
a while ago now, Dave. My goodness.
Go on, tell me about it.
I know. No, I just had such a great experience on it, to be honest. So I was on the first season of X Factor, which aired in 2011. And obviously, y'all know Simon Cowell over there was behind it. And it was our first season in the US, I should say. And I just had the best time. They were so awesome to work with, and I was a finalist on the show, so I did get to learn, know the judges on a little bit of a more personal level, and just great people. Simon Cowell was on that season, L.A. Reid, along with Nicole Scherzinger and Paula Abdul, who later became my manager. So it was a blessing for me. It's such a great experience, and because my particular group was mentored by Simon, we got to come over to your neighborhood and hang out over there and do some shooting for what was it? The judges' homes round and things of that nature. So yeah, no, it was a blessing for me. I mean, I think that season aired in like 13 or 14 different countries at different times throughout that year. And it was just a huge, huge stepping stone for me.
Okay. So you've got a new single out, Where You Began. How did that all come about?
So Where You Began was written actually a couple of years ago with a friend of mine, Alex Haddad, who's a member of a band over here called Them Vibes. And he's just a friend of mine. We came up in the music scene together here in Nashville, and co-wrote that song in about like 45 minutes, like on a Tuesday. Right. Probably drink coffee for most of that time. And it was a song originally about, some heartache. And after, classic relationship ends, you're kind of like back to where you started sort of situation. But what's really cool about it is that it transpired into this whole different meaning for me, because last year, it was 2020 and COVID and quarantine and everything. I found myself back in my hometown for the summer, and I wanted to revisit these songs in hopes of releasing them, Where You Began included. And because the music industry was shut down, I had access to all of these musicians, that are A-list musicians that work with everybody, but they were home, and I had worked with them when I was like 15 years old, and so it was such a blessing for me. So Where You Began took on this whole different meaning because I revisited the song with my old like time Buffalo musicians. And so it was this huge collaborative effort of like Nashville and, Buffalo for me personally. So that song has taken on a whole different thing for me now. But I think if you were to listen to it, you'd be like, oh, this girl's just some sob story, dude broke her heart, like, whatever, same old. But it's cool for me. And I love the way that it came out, because it's this like Rolling Stones meets Aretha sort of vibe, which is really what I love personally. So
cool. Okay, so is this a first single for a new album, or is there an album in the works, or?
So, right. So over here in the States, like singles are kind of like the trend right now. So Where You Began is actually a part of this body of work that I originally was going to release as an album. But because like the lure of releasing singles is really what I appreciate about it is that you get to highlight each song as its own entity, like different album artwork, like here's the story behind it, and like, so I love that whole concept of like getting to spotlight each song individually. And so that's what I'm going to do, I think, throughout the rest of the year is just, I do have a body of work that is an
Right.
album, but I'm going to shoot them out there one at a time, swim my babies, like see what happens, like,
Okay.
yeah.
So has America opened up for touring now? I think they have recently, have they? Or
Well, the country genre,
yeah,
country artists here are just ready to go. So
yeah,
Chris Stapleton, I'm pretty sure, is going on tour this summer. A bunch of them are just scheduling dates and just going with it. And like the southern states, well, I should say really Tennessee's what I'm most familiar with, but
yeah,
they, their lockdown was a little bit shorter than everyone else's. And by that, I mean, it was like a month.
yeah.
Um, so everybody's roaring to go down here.
Okay.
In contrast to like New York, right, which is
Mm.
still pretty much, has a bunch of restrictions in place and limitations as to how many people can gather and things of that nature. But in Tennessee, nope, they're going.
Good, good. So does that mean you're going out now fairly quickly and
Yeah,
airing
so
some
I
of
think,
these songs?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm ready. Like, this is the longest it's been for me to not have seen a stage. And I know that, that's probably the same way for everyone, but it is such a weird feeling. When I tell you that 2 weeks ago, okay, I
Mm.
went down to Broadway here in Nashville to sit in with a friend of mine, and I got on stage. Okay, just wanted to get my feet wet, just wanted to
Right,
get up
right.
there and like see how things are going, and where we're at. I totally blacked out on the second verse of Prince's Kiss and totally forgot the words. Now, as a professional, I want you to
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that I eventually figured it out,
of
but
course, yeah.
it was questionable there for a minute. So I just want you to know that's how things are going right now.
A little bit
And
of
so
brain fog.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully we'll get it together eventually here for some live performances. But that's where we're at. It's weird. It felt weird, Dave. Like I got on stage and I was like, do I remember how to do this? I don't
Yeah.
know. We're gonna find out.
Does that mean you'll be over in the UK at some point?
I would love to get back over there. Yeah. I don't know what y'all's where your situation is. I think you're still like in some phase of
Yeah.
restrictions. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think 21st of June is when things start to open up again. There's been
Okay.
a couple of pilot gigs in the last weekend in Liverpool, and we'll see if the boffins all decide it's all okay to go. So we shall see. Yeah, we're all got our fingers crossed for festivals like Rambling Man and things like that to go ahead.
Oh,
But yeah,
yes. Love Ramblin' Man, of
yeah, you've
course.
played there, haven't you?
Yes, and I loved it. I loved it. What a cool venue. And I've heard now like the stages, when I played there, they had like a country rock sort of
Mm.
kind of like eclectic, like a little bit, off the beaten path in terms of, the mainstream rock that's offered at that particular festival. And like it was a great stage then, but I've heard that it's even expanded more so and that the whole festival has just expanded. So I would love to go back. I mean, that was a good time. That
Cool.
was fun.
Okay, thank you for your time tonight, or for you this afternoon. And
Yes.
Caitlin Koch, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.